Have you ever wondered if there's, like, a secret formula for success? A key that just unlocks everything? Well, way back in 1937, a book came out that claimed to have that exact secret. And get this, it wasn't meant to be entertainment. It was billed as a textbook on individual achievement. And for almost 100 years, people have been trying to tap into its power. All right, let's get into it.
So right out of the gate, the author, Napoleon Hill, drops this massive clue. This one sentence, it's the foundation for the entire book. It's telling us that everything you see around you, every big company, every invention, every single thing, it all started as just a thought, nothing more.
So, where did an idea this huge even come from? Well, the story behind the book is almost as amazing as the ideas in it. This wasn't just one guy's opinion. It was born from a quest, a challenge, from one of the richest men who ever lived.
Okay, so picture this. It's the early 1900s. Andrew Carnegie, an industrialist, basically one of the wealthiest people on the planet, sits down with this young, unknown journalist. And he just casually throws this idea at him, an idea that would completely take over the rest of the young man's life.
And Carnegie's challenge was, well, it was monumental. He basically told Napoleon Hill, I want you to spend your life figuring out the universal laws of success. Study the best of the best. And the point wasn't to keep it a secret. The whole mission was to package it up and give it to the world, to anyone who wanted to get ahead.
And this was no weekend project. He'll spend 25 years of his life on this research, a full quarter of a century just chasing this one single idea.
So who was he studying? Over 500 of the most successful men of his time. We're talking about absolute titans like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, even Theodore Roosevelt. Guys who started with next to nothing and built empires, all based on their ideas.
And this book, Think and Grow Rich, this was the result of that epic journey. It's not just a bunch of theories. It's a roadmap, built from the actual, real-world experiences of hundreds of America's biggest success stories.
So, after 25 years of digging, what was the secret that Carnegie whispered to him? What was the one thing that connected all 500 of these incredible people? It all boils down to one simple but totally mind-bending concept.
Here it is. The big secret is that your thoughts have actual, tangible power. They aren't just these little wisps of nothing floating in your brain. Hill says they are real forces, the literal building blocks of your reality. Every single fortune, every single achievement starts as an impulse in your mind. The whole purpose of the book is to show you how to do it, how to take that thought, what Hill calls a burning desire, and transform it or transmute it from something you can't see or touch into its real-world physical version, whether that's money in the bank, a new business, or whatever your goal is.
But you know, it's really important to get this part. Even though the book has rich in the title, Hill is super clear that real wealth is so much more than just money. He's talking about deep friendships, a family that's in harmony, and that kind of inner peace of mind that no amount of cash can buy.
Okay, so believing that thoughts are things is one thing, but how do you actually do it? Like, what's the first step? This is where the big idea turns into a practical, step-by-step method. Hill breaks the whole process down into 13 specific principles. And these aren't just vague suggestions. He calls them definite, practical steps that anyone can follow to literally turn their desires into reality. Let's just touch on the first few.
So, it all starts with desire. And we're not talking about a simple wish. He means a white-hot, burning obsession with a very specific goal. Then comes faith, the unshakable belief that you can and will achieve it. From there, you use auto-suggestion to program that belief deep into your subconscious mind, over and over. And that leads you to organized planning, where you start turning that mental energy into a concrete plan of action. These first steps are all about building that mental foundation. The other steps then show you how to act on that blueprint through persistence, making decisions, and working with others in what he calls a mastermind.
But look, just knowing the steps isn't always enough, right? Hill argues that before you can even really start climbing that ladder, there's some serious internal work you have to do first. You've got to conquer the enemies that are living inside your own head. Hill is absolutely insistent on this. Before you can put this philosophy to work, your mind has to be ready. That means you have to get rid of the three biggest enemies of success: indecision, doubt, and fear. He says these things are like weeds that can choke out even the best plans before they get started, and that fear, well, fear is the most destructive of them all. Hill identifies what he calls the 6 ghosts of fear. These are the deep, fundamental fears that he says are behind most of our failures and anxieties. The fear of poverty, of what other people think, of getting sick, of losing love, of getting old, and, of course, the fear of death. He calls them ghosts because they just kind of lurk in the background of our minds, paralyzing us without us even realizing it.
So take a second and really think about this. Which of these are holding you back? Hill says these fears are sneaky. They can quietly kill your ambition and your drive. So which ones are maybe standing in your way?
So when you tie it all together, the incredible power of a thought, the 13 steps to bring it to life, and mastering your own fears, you get to the book's ultimate and most empowering conclusion.
This quote just nails it. It captures the entire philosophy in one single sentence. Your world on the outside is just a mirror of your world on the inside. Whether you have a life of abundance or a life of scarcity, Hill says the starting point is exactly the same: your own dominant thoughts. And this right here is the most powerful takeaway of all. According to Hill, we have absolute control over one thing and only one thing: our thoughts. And since everything we create in our life starts with a thought, that means you hold the key. You are in the driver's seat of your own life. You are the master of your destiny.
So we'll leave you with this last question to chew on. The philosophy of Think and Grow Rich puts all the power and all the responsibility right on your shoulders. It's asking you to pay attention to the mental blueprints you're drawing up every single moment of every day. So, what reality are you building?